The statue reaches toward the sky. The bottom drops out. Even in death, the spirit of Charon, the great mistake.
Lucian, I'm coming. I'm coming, Lucian. I'm coming, Lucian. Lucian, I'm coming. Coming!
The spiritual union is sudden. It sounds and feels as if you have fallen to the sand chest. You bow to Alexander, as Gareth has said you must. You rise, and the bishop's scepter points directly at you. Show me. He is the master. You are the obedient hound. And he wants to see your tricks. Alexander's eyes grow wide, and he shields himself with his luxurious cloak. Paladins and magisters alike descend. I am what you made me, you call to. Your soul rejoins your body. The spirit of Charon looks at you. For once his gaze is crystal clear. You find an ocean of rage, storm-torn and heavy, with great black waves battering the shores of his conscious mind. Charon wishes he could have been more than he was. He wishes he could have been the creator. But he was the destroyer, and he embraced destruction. And there, beneath the regret, lies the kernel of fear from which all of this rage flowed. Fear that he could not be better. Fear that what he was... Charon blinks once, twice, then... The ocean of anger evaporates. The nugget of fear appears in the palm of his hand. When he opens it again, his hand is empty. He smiles at you, lays his hand upon your breast.
Your source is mine to take.
Too heavy.
No sign of Lucian's body. Has Dallas beaten us here?
The blessed altar seems to want to be touched. In the pit beyond, things move once more, as if returning to their original position. Then the mechanism rests. Behind you, the altar seems to respond. Beyond it, something creaks, as if the pipework was moving. The sound comes from beyond the altar, but peering through the iron grating, you can see a blessed stone altar. In the space beyond the altar, the pipework shifts. The altar seems to respond. Beyond it, a blessed stone altar. In the pit beyond, things move once more. Peering through the iron grating, you can see how it connects to the strange... A blessed stone altar. The altar seems... A blessed stone altar. The altar seems to respond. Beyond it, something creaks, as if the pipework... A blessed stone altar. In the space be... Peering through the iron grating. A blessed stone altar. The cool stone, the altar seems to respond. Beyond it, something creaks, as if the pipework was... A blessed stone altar. In the space beyond... A blessed stone altar. The cool stone seems to beg to be touched. In the space... The altar seems to respond. A blessed stone altar. In the space beyond the altar. The altar seems to respond. A blessed stone in the space beyond. The altar seems. A blessed stone in the space beyond the altar. In the space beyond. The altar seems to respond. A blessed stone in the space beyond. In the pit beyond, things move. A blessed stone altar. The altar seems. A blessed stone in the space. In the space beyond the altar, the altar seemed... A blessed stone altar. The cools in the space beyond... The altar seemed... A blessed stone altar in the space beyond... The altar seemed...
Venture no farther. Only death lies beyond. Blood need not be spilled. Bones need not be broken. Preserve thyself and flee. To cross this threshold is to plunge into thy grave. Do not decide in haste. Very well. Embrace thy fate.
Grooming? Charming.
To hazardous concoction generator.
keep coming. Look around. There's gotta be a way to make them stop.
Orifice manipulator. Careful now, that's a trap. It worked. I heard gears moving. Careful, I've spotted a trap. Something happened, I think. Orifice manipulator. Orifice manipulator activated.
Another one? How many more could there be?
Moving to noxious atmosphere enabler.
Another one? How many more could there be?
Something's happening. That must have been the last lever.
The truth hangs heavy upon the air itself, unspoken.
Most.
truth hangs heavy.
You come here often. I don't know what you did, but you just released a source flood. I thought I'd come and see what all the fuss was about. Should have known you were getting yourself into trouble. Looks like the big moment has finally arrived. I will do everything I can to support you, Godwoken. I will pray for you. You'd think, right? But no. Still, do not underestimate my presence. This is a place of incredible power where a single prayer holds the weight of thousands. Consider it a taste of your divine future. Of course, it's up to you whether...
Malady wearily chuckles to herself, then bows her head in a show of...
Looks like my investments...
You've shown me kindness in the face of my sins. My worship is...
Now go.
Godwoken. Dallis told me about you. You must be as hard as diamonds, and twice as bright, to have come so far.
Most wise.
The statue, the bottom...
Only four.
The spirit of an elf makes a dash for... The spirit of a lizard struggles to extract an avalanche of further... spirit of a woman throws phantom rock, the spirit opens her mouth.
Yes? Huh. Which part? Who could look at all those people and destroy them with... I know I crossed a line. But it wasn't a line between good and bad. I would have preferred not to know how dark the night can get. But I did what I had to do. As for the rest of the realm's demons, well, what is it they say? The first... We make a good team, don't we, Chief? A really good... May as well get to it. Don't worry, Chief. I'm on high alert. Last I heard, Dallas has something that belongs to...
She flings her hands into the air, closes...
I feel... real.
She twirls in play.
I feel like I can take on the... Yes? Anytime.
Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Sway with me, we'll make them scream. Dance with me, we'll make them bleed. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Listen, do you hear it? Listen, do you feel it? Listen, I'm calling you. Listen, you do know me. Listen, swing and roll me. Listen, I'm calling you.
Bloody freezing! We can't stay here!
teeth won't stop chattering.
We need to get back to warmth. It's too cold here.
The cold. I can't move.
I can hardly breathe. It's too cold.
My teeth won't stop chattering.
We need to get back to warmth. It's too cold here.
You're safe! Praise the divine!
My hands have gone numb. My hands have gone numb. Can't... can't stay. My hands have gone numb. Can't stay here.
My hands have gone numb. Can't stay here. My hands have gone numb. Can't stay here. My hands have gone numb. My hands have gone numb. Can't stay here. My hands have gone numb.
My teeth won't stop chattering.
We need to get back to Worms. It's too cold here.
It seems I can't... No go. It seems I can't use that right now. My hands have gone numb. Can't stay here.
My hands have gone numb. Can't stay here. So cold.
You're safe. Praise the divine.
I heard that the paladin...
I welcome newcomers and natives alike. I serve all who seek aid, Mark.
Paladins would do to us if they heard you going wrong like that. Arks is still a free city, last time I checked. All those broken arrows. There's bodies in the streets. This place isn't free, not anymore.
I'm not free, as long as the arrows fly straight. Friendly Hubert publishes latest edition.
I heard that the paladins killed unarmed magistrates and still even left surrender. Too loud. What do you think the paladins would do to us if they heard you going wrong like that? Arks is still a free city, last time I checked. There's bodies in the streets. This place isn't free, not anymore.
Suspect in Alexander.
The statue looms. The tier is
A foolish blood need not to very
Grooming. Charming.
Look out! We see a trap nearby.
Moving to Argus manipulator.
This lever works. I felt something shift behind it.
Moving to Argus manipulator. Moving to reinforcement deployer. All reinforcements deployed. Moving to Argus manipulator. Argus manipulator. Activated.
It feels like that lever did something.
Moving to Argus manipulator. Argus manipulator. Activated.
It worked! I heard gears moving.
Moving to infantry. Moving to noxious atmosphere. Noxious atmosphere enabled.
They just keep coming. Look around. There's got to be a way to make them stop. Everything's happening. That must have been the last lever.
truth hangs heavy upon the air itself.
You come here often. Looks like the big moment has finally arrived. Don't underestimate the consider, of course, is
Malady
looks like my.
You've shown me.
Now go.
Our shield speaks, Quercus. Prick up your phantom ear. Yes, it did miss my little revelation earlier. It's time for our shield.
The squirrel lays his hand on you, and a strange feeling...
The final spell. The last thing our friend here will need to defeat...
The squirrel turns his nose up at you.
Aye, the giant. Ask away, shield. Oh, Quercus, what tree did the great acorn fall from? Where did that tree... Some questions have... The great acorn will come. It will destroy the... Do you think giants understand chivalric or... Oh, Quercus, I am not talking. I just worry it won't treat a group of mystic squirrel knights forming a... Ah, truly. The thing that you must understand about the Knights of Dre is that they are utter fanatic. Other than the destruction of their home... I am perfectly in control, Quercus. Regardless, we must step... Not that it matters. For that, if nothing else, you have my thanks. Now...
God, Woken. Dallis told me about you. You must be as hard as diamonds, and twice as bright, to have come so... You're divine. Well...
The divine you thought dead lords over the chamber from a granite throne. He moves to speak, but it's Riedeman's voice that next pierces...
What a twist.
Lucian frowns at Riedemann, then turns to the silent monk standing near and smiles widely. Reality sets in. The monk is Gareth. No longer seeker, but slave.
Oh, Gareth. He was always so devoted, and so... stubborn.
I underestimated you, Godwoken. You have proved...
Respect?
Lucian, we should tell the Godwoken that...
Yes, I agree. It is time we dropped our masks.
Dallis nods, then reaches for the sides of her head. Where there was one face, suddenly there are four. She takes off the mask of the shapeshifter. A skull is revealed, bejeweled and ancient as the void.
I am eternal.
Aren't they just full of surprises?
Fear not, Godwoken. Dallis is on the side of all that is good. She is helping me rid Rivellon of the influence of the Source.
I shall tell you the tale as I told it to Lucian. Long ago, the Scholar Fane discovered that the veil between the world and the void was made of Source. Our...
Of course.
Silence, slave. Our king forbade the Seven to reach for this power, but they didn't listen. Instead, they rebelled and sent the king and his people into the void.
With the source they stole from the Veil, the Seven created the races so they would have worshippers.
Really? I'm sure.
Shut your mouth, Godwoken. I tell you the truth.
He hesitates, then he swallows his pride.
Here is the truth. I have killed thousands, perhaps millions, for the greater good. But I made a mistake. It was my use of death fog that opened the door to the God King. It upset the Veil and took the Seven by surprise. My one mistake meant all those sacrifices were for naught. Those sacrifices must have meaning. They must stop the Void once and...
I seek vengeance against the king and against the Seven.
There is more, but she hesitates to share it. Then she decides that she must.
I was a child when the God King tore my family apart. I was purged of source and left to rot in a putrid... It was hell. A hell I suffered for the sins of my father. He was the one that betrayed the God King. The cruel joke of it all is that the same tomb that housed my tortured body is what sheltered me from the Void. Few Eternals escaped that fate. My father, the scholar, Faye. But now I finally have revenge. Revenge on the Seven and the God King. Revenge for what they took from me! My life!
The hammer's voice falters and her coolness vanishes. Every crack and rasp betrays her grief. But her next words burn not with sadness, but anger.
He never even looked for me. He never even looked for her!
Dallis, control yourself. Our purpose transcends your personal wounds.
Yes. You.
Dallas's reasons weren't mine to question. All that ever mattered to me was peace. Peace for Rivellon. Peace for me, whatever the means. And now, we are on the precipice.
With a face ripper. And a suitable sacrifice of... The real Dallas didn't volunteer herself to me, mind you. Curiosity led her to the tomb. My hunger for source took care of the rest. I presume... And then I took her place. It didn't take long to realize that Lucian was the key to my vengeance. And I was the key to the salvation of Rivellon.
While Dallis sought the Aetheran, I started draining the gods of their source.
Slurp, slurp.
One more word from you, and I shall use the leash.
I had to hide from the gods. So I had the walls of this crypt equipped with tenebrium and protections put in place. It worked. Everyone, even the gods, thought me dead. As divine, I was created, empowered to stop the Void. I was the avatar of the Seven, their strength and their weakness. My bond to them allowed me to drain them of their source.
Maggot. I am no slave.
With a flick of her wrist, Dallis sends a jolt through Brachus's body. He writhes in pain.
Don't worry, he's well under control. He has made a fine servant. Isn't that right? Ingrate. I used him to find the Aetheran. When we're done, I'll release him from his duty and free him from his...
Dallis punctuates her statement with another wrist flip. Brachus shudders, but his lips remain curled in a self-satisfied grimace.
Yes, in a sense. When the death fog was unleashed, many elves died. With fewer elves to worship him, Teosendilius weakened. This gave the God King his first real foothold back in the world. To strengthen himself, he sent his Voidwoken, the remnants of my people, to hunt down the sorcerers.
The Voidwoken. Disgusting things. They ravaged the land they touched and infected the air they breathed. You see, blaming the sorcerers for Voidwalken made them easier to capture.
The Eterra now contains almost all of the source the Seven stole. Soon, we will be able to heal the Veil.
The Void shall be banished, and I, Lucian the Divine, shall return from the dead. A false divine, of course. I shall have no power, but the world will not know this.
The plan is almost...
We have made so many sacrifices, Godwoken. All of us. Of ourselves and those we love. One last sacrifice is required for the future.
Decide. Be the true hero and give up your source, or be forced to submit. Like a coward.
There is no other way. The source of the world is required to close the veil. We only lack yours.
Good. You understand.
The world shall not know this. I shall return from the grave, a divine without power, yet all who desire power shall fear me. I shall carry the secret of my lack of divinity. Peace shall reign.
We already had more than enough Godwoken.
Another sacrifice I was forced to make. Those beautiful people.
As I say, one last sacrifice is required. Yours. Then let us show some responsibility.
You'll be a hero. Everyone will know of the sacrifice.
Don't let them do this to us.
But our soul...
No. Never.
I understand. Sacrifice takes your sacrifice shall be made for you.
I'm sorry. You've come such a long way, but there is too much at stake. This is the end.
What do you mean, Quercus?
His Sir Laura.
But I see. Now, here I am. Here, indeed, Quercus and I.
Sir Laura, take.
You feel it, the great ache we've known. I, Quercus, is. And you, Shield?
Sir Laura nods in return.
No matter what happens next, it has. Now!
I understand.
I'm sorry.
I understand. Your sacrifice shall be...
I'm sorry.
feeling poorly, Dallas? Good. You shall not seal the veil. And now it is time. I call on the God King. Come, claim what is yours.
How? What? You are unleashed!
Wiedemann cackles in delight at this turn of events. His unbridled glee slithers into your veins and throttles your heart.
You left the leashing wand next to me, you stupid maggot. So accustomed had you become to me pretending to be yours.
Kill him!
Do shut up, you tedious buffoon. And don't look so surprised. As if I would allow that bone-bag Dallas to enslave me. Me?
This is not the time for talk.
Too late, you mouldering, blight-stained pigs. Grant me power, my ally. God King, I call on you. You would interrupt Brachus Rex? You would interrupt the Source King? The God King hears my call. He sends a companion worthy of my power. Come to your father. Come to the Source King.
I understand. Yours.
I'm sorry.
I understand. Yours.
I'm sorry.
you feeling poorly, Dallas? I call on...
How?
Friedemann,
You left.
Kill him!
Do shut up, you tedious buffoon.
This is not the...
Too late, you mouldering, blight-stained pigs. Grant me power. You wouldn't... The God King, he's come to your father. Come to the Source King.
I understand your...
I'm sorry.
you feeling?
How?
Freedom.
You
Kill him!
do shut up, you.
This is not the time for talk.
Too late, you. You dare interrupt Brachus Rex? How novel. Who are you to challenge the Source King? Ah! You are the fetid dirt on my boot. The God King, he sends, come to your father. Come to the Source King.
I understand.
I'm sorry.
Are you feeling
How?
freedom? You kill. Do shut up, you tedious buffoon. And you should have. I am Brachus Rex. I am the Source King.
This is not the time for...
Too late, you mouldering blights. You would... The God King, he's come to your father. Come to the sword.
mine!
Right where I want.
Lucian struggles to rise, but the weight of his own pain leaves him to gravity's mercy.
My time is done. But your source burns so bright I'm all but blinded by it. Be wise and true, Godwoken. I am no hero, but wisdom and truth. These are values I always...
Dallis groans in pain.
I have failed. The future of all that is rests on your shoulders.
Wrong. About power, I mean. I was always kidding myself that I could only help my people if I were free. Lead them by example. The thing is, I can never be free. I've taken their queen from them. In exchange for my own.
I know you'll have my back when I return to them, just like I've got yours.
Beast bows in return. There's no denying the glint in his eye. Whatever the future holds, he is game for it.
Yes.
She casts her gaze around the crypt in awe.
After everything we've been through, after everything we've seen, here we are. Here I am. And now that I see godhood before... Chief, you need to ascend. There's no one I would trust with this responsibility but you. I know you'll do what needs to be done, what ought to be done. And I know you'll do it with style. Ha! They'll never know what hit. Now go on.
Here we stand, once more on the cusp of... All my life has been a lead-up to this. To be the King of Kings, God of God. I will not say it was in vain, but I will say it was vanity. If I were to chance upon my throne right now, I would sit down beside it, cast my glance to the horizon, and think of worthier things. I'd think of Sadher. I'd think of my children, their joyous dance, and of course I'd think of you. Yes, I'd sit there, thoroughly contented, and wait for you to I know.
A mischievous smile.
But I do have to add, likewise.
You think back on your journey here. You think of the Magisters, and the sorcerers they hunted, and of the good, and you think of how the Eternals came as Voidwoken to reclaim their... You look at the source around you. The power is in... You think of what you could do with such power. The rights you'd wrong, the wars you'd win. You marvel at your journey and how it has changed you. You think of those you left. It's time to choose. Shall you be divine? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aetheran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate and the future of the world. What shall you do with divinity?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. A new divine rose, a true heir to the Seven, more powerful than ever, and united Rivellon in its battle against the Void. All across the realm, she was loved, worshipped, and adored. Humans, lizards, elves, and dwarves all rallied to her banner. The Great Allegiance stood once more, but the war continued. From the depths of the Void, the God King still sought to return. As for me, My last hope of ever being freed of the God King's terrible tyranny faded when the God Woken claimed divinity. An eternity of pain and suffering is mine. I cling now to the dream that one day the veil will be sealed, that one day I can be freed, that one day a new God Woken will rise.
Well, well. Look what the cat dragged in. A god, no less.
He smiles at you fondly as he takes you by the hand.
You've done us proud. You saved the world, didn't you? No. We were all of us instrumental, but I'm glad it was you. Home, if you don't mind. After all, I've dragons to raise. I need to teach them to be good boys. There may be an accident or two along the way. I do so long to see my palace again. The Forbidden City. The sense of spicy to sit all day, but above all, I long to be with Sadher. Oh, but remember how when we first met, I took you by the jaw to inspect your teeth? Not something one forgets in a hurry. Now, if you recall, as per your own testimony, at the time, of course, I couldn't have foreseen the adventure ahead, but now that it's quite over, I'd like to renew... What say you? Well, that's settled then. You're very welcome to my house indeed. We'll feast and... My boots are not going to clean themselves.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me.
She turns to you, arms crossed.
Look at you. Magnificent. The same way I do everything, of course.
She fingers the mask, covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to...
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. Soon, I'd like to have a but. Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do this. Oh, I don't know. Around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a lover or 300. And when the time comes, your holiness.
An abominable prison and confronted the king of all gods, only in turn to confront divinity itself. Rather, not that your story is finished, of course. Your divinity shines upon all who walk Rivellon. And there will be those that escape to the shadows. Now that I am clear of mind and free of intruders, once I've come to a conclusion, as a matter of source makes for an excellent ally in matters of a demonic nature. Not only can voids, whether you are clever enough of a divine to keep Damien's disciples confined to Nemesis, I can't say. Until we...
The flaming hatchling bounces and...
Fresh air! Freedom! There's no containing me!
Beast brushes detritus from his beard, sand, skin, and whatever else might have accumulated.
I know it's the same old sea breeze I've always smelled, but it's different now. I don't know how to explain. Maybe... And who'd have thought it? You're not the collared landlubber I first met, that's for sure.
Beast begins to chuckle, then guffaw, and soon...
Ah, that might be the most dramatic thing I've said in ages.
The laugh fades away, and the concerns of a kingdom and beyond pass between the two of you.
That's what I should be asked. I'll find ways to excite myself. Always do. First I go back to the kingdom. The queen is dead and the court will be in tatters. Something tells me it's all going to...
He winks, and...
Here the wild beast just sails on the ocean. He's docked in the bay and coming your way. Off on the yawn, you hear the commotion. He's docked in the bay and coming your... The cupboard can't hide you, nor can your berth. His daggers don't care about the gold that you're worth. He'll bury your bones neath a mountain of earth. He's docked in the bay and coming your way.
He pauses, then continues to hum.
Well, if it isn't the new Divine gracing me with her presence. How honored I am.
Tarquin's smirk.
I didn't come all this way to show deference. Some friendly advice. All who ride... That is the question, isn't it? How does one top the greatest feat of necromancy ever conceived? I might have the answer to that. No, of course you wouldn't. It's a written language. Unreadable. I intend to seek them out. This goes...
Well, well, Quirkers. Look who finally graced us with their presence. I suppose some thanks are in order. What? No, you should be thanking... You're welcome. Honestly, Quirkers, some creatures have no sense of perspective.
A huge grin.
Of course, had you not stopped this god-king and his
The cat moves forward, twisting.
Ah, Quirkers! Please, have a little decorum.
Quirkers arches his back, almost.
This battle is won, my friend, but we still have a war to fight. We've undone the Great They summoned the Great Acorn once. They will be able to... That is the future Quirkers and I have ahead of us. We no longer need a shield, but we are very happy. The honor is all mine. I never thought I would be proud to... Ow! Quirkers! I do not know what comes next. Come, Quirkers.
The cat curls up and...
You're the new Divine. That's so cool. What's it like? Neat. Up there's also the...
He taps his fingers and...
1,300,000 dozen and 50 gold pieces. Now, it is so, but if you can't pay me in money, then I'll just have...
Han ponders your...
You got it, everybody.
A slight grin.
I see great potential in our new...
Oh my, you! Look who it is!
She curtsies low and...
So, what's your first order of business? End world hunger? Instigate world peace? Send all spiders back to hell where they belong? Well, yeah. I'm not the next god. Someone...
She winks.
So? Come on, don't keep me in suspense. What are you gonna do with your almighty power? Can it? Sometimes I think this realm of ours is cursed. You look at big job. I'd offer to help, but I've got some business of my own to attend to. Get loot, play loot, get loot. So, Chief, I guess this is it, right?
Her face...
You know, I won't forget you either. Not ever. It's not every day you fall in love with a future god, after all. You'll ace it.
As she turns from you, the whites of her eyes darken. The veins in her face... Suddenly, it's gone again. She winks, and you're left wondering whether you saw anything at all.
See you around.
Losa sings to herself, a small... Ifan's spirit stares at you, seemingly through you. He gives no sign. Ifan's eyes flicker.
Clacoup de mort.
He whispers the phrase over. Then, before your eyes, that you could hear, For
I suppose it's time for me to...
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you. I will always be an ally to them. I am at the ready.
She is full of surprises. I feel...
you look out to the endless beyond, and with a start, you realize where you must go. War raged on. Arx remained the center of power as the races united behind the Divine. But the Voidwoken attacks continued as they did elsewhere. Arx would see many more long years of war. The ancient empire of lizards became one of the pillars of the new Divine Alliance. The Houses of War and of Shadows were particularly useful in the fight against the God King. The Empire used the war to expand its territory. With Lucian gone, the elves reluctantly rejoined the Divine Alliance. Their place in the war on the Void would entirely depend on the integrity of the new Divine. And here and there, across the world, what was left of the Black Ring fought on. The island of Fort Joy remained a sorcerer's paradise, a place of exile for those whose sorcery threatened to bring in the Void. For their well-being, its residents depended entirely on the benevolence of the new Divine. Reaper's Coast struggled on. The farms and the fisheries fought to feed the people against the Voidwoken blight. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood teetered on the edge of starvation until the night the Voidwoken came from the sea. All were killed. This did, however, put an end to the famine. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Young Han grew up a warrior and became one of the Alliance's greatest generals. But even he could not win the war. With a new Divine at the helm, Malady had a powerful ally, but she was in no hurry to call in her favor. After all, it might be the last thing she ever did. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Ahu the Wizard served the new Divine with honor, wisdom, and an at times unnerving feline elegance. The undead priestess Gratiana remained in her sanctuary, happy to wait for the war to pass. She was troubled only by the silence of her goddess. Changed by his experience with the Godwoken, Mordus proved a useful tool in the fight against the Void. The Alliance quickly learned to keep him away from ordinary soldiers for the sake of morale. Jehan the Demon Hunter never stopped hunting for demons. Sahala sought to strengthen the Elven Alliance with the new Divine. Her powers of sight proved useful in the ongoing war against the Void, but she could never be sure that the new Divine trusted her. Tova, her mother, was Sahala's most trusted warrior. the Beast of the Sea returned to the Dwarven Kingdom to lead the dwarves in the fight against the Void. After a series of public blunders, Marcus eschewed political power and returned to the sea. The Beast and the Lady Vengeance sail on. On his return to the Empire, the Red Prince was hailed a hero. He married Sada, and they had many more dragons. Soon, the prince became the emperor. Faced with dragons, the Void did not gain the upper hand in the Empire. Lohse returned to her music and enjoyed a storied career as the Divine's premier musician. Dark moods would still overtake her, and she would spend long hours walking in the wilds. She always returned with a new song. And then there was you. For how much of this do you take credit or blame? And what kind of divine were you as the world battled on? Did you show mercy or strength? Did you sacrifice others as Lucian had done? Did you regret becoming divine? Should you have given your soul and sealed the veil? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.